Here's everything the Lion King had wrong about the animal kingdom. An African lion is not likely to chase a mouse. The guy requires about 7,000 calories a day. A mouse would only provide 20 calories. It would take the feline way too much energy to spend and way too little reward. Mufasa comes to Scar and is ordering his brother to treat his son Simba with respect. Mufasa here is clearly a nepotistic tyrant. He lives a good life in a penthouse, keeping all the girls for himself. In the meantime, Scar, his brother, lives in a cave. He's chasing mice while there are gazelles running around in the kingdom. He's disheveled, clearly malnourished, and must spend an enormous amount of time on dubious websites, cause I don't know about you, but I'm not seeing any lioness around here. Unless Mufasa feels threatened by Scar, and he doesn't feel like he is, then there is no good reason to seclude him from society. In the real African savannah, contrary to misconceptions, a lion pride can have up to 3 males. Each of them can have access to mating, good food, and just a decent social life. Mufasa is being a raging douchebag for no reason. At the birth of Simba, all animals in the African savannah are bowing down to an apex predator who would serve every single last one of them as a 3-meal course. First, why would they even put up with this? Second, an elephant, for instance, has no business bowing down to this authoritarian regime. It is the most massive land animal in the world and could decimate the entire lion pride without even trying. A mandrill would never touch a lion with a 10-foot pole. This guy is clearly being coerced to do this performance and must be terrified for his life. These insects are leafcutter ants. They must be lost because they're found in Central and Southern America, not in the African savannah. Simba is said to be the future king, but power is not hereditary in the Lion Kingdom. In reality, by age 2, Simba will be asked to get the f out of the clan and will be living the life of a tramp. He'll most likely die from starvation or multiple infectious diseases. Mufasa lives in a giant cave with multiple females, then walks out of the cave with one female pretending to be monogamous. All male lions mate with multiple females when they get the chance. I'm not sure why he seems ashamed of that dynamic. In a beautiful scene, Simba asked his dad why they eat antelopes, their loyal servants, and his lying father responds, and I quote, "When we die, our body becomes grass, and the antelopes eat the grass, and so we are all connected in the great circle of life." Well, in fact, I initially thought that this was some propagandistic bullshit, but surprisingly, it's not. At the death of a lion, its body becomes fertilizer, which promotes the proliferation of grass, which is eaten by gazelles and antelopes. But wait, why are lions necessary in this equation? Can't herbivores' bodies also be fertilizers? Of course they can, but here's the thing. Without the wild predators to murder a bit or a lot, herbivores' population will initially blow up out of proportion. Overgrazing would inevitably deplete the natural ecosystem. This would lead to a food deficit and then to mass starvation. This actually happened in the state of Montana when a vast quantity of wolves were eliminated to protect wildlife. This caused an overpopulation of elks who started depleting vegetation, which would in turn lead to high elk mortality. Predators and prey need each other for survival. The circle of life is real. These gazelles are running around way too comfortably near a full-grown lion. This extreme level of trust will never happen in the African savannah. Mufasa teaches his son how to hunt like a feline. He orders his most trusted servant to turn around and let his entitled son pounce at him in a humiliating ritual.
That's very good.
What a douchebag. This fact is also incorrect. Lion cubs learn hunting lessons from their mother while the male sleeps 20 hours every day. Simba goes to Scar to rub his power over him to his face. Scar secretly believes that he is a better fit to be the ruler of the pack, which he might be. Scar has a darker mane than any other lion in the animation, and a dark mane in the lion's world indicates higher testosterone levels, greater physical strength, and greater appeal from lionesses. This on its own makes him a great contender to the throne. It is not clear in the animation that Nala is Simba's sister, but she is. All the females live in the same cave as one single lion, Mufasa. But again, the studio categorically refuses to make that case clear. In a cute little song where Simba expresses enthusiasm for his future rule after the death of good old Mufasa, Zazu flies faster than an ostrich, which isn't possible. Zazu, a hornbill, has a flight speed of 22 miles per hour. An ostrich goes about 35 miles per hour. This isn't even a close match. Simba arrives in an elephant grave. There are a couple of things wrong here. First, contrary to popular myth, elephants don't all go to a common place to die, so there wouldn't be a specific location serving as an elephant graveyard. Second, the bones wouldn't remain well formed and intact after their deaths because the bones in question are made up with multiple air-filled cavities, a structure pretty similar to that of a honeycomb. They're strong when supported by soft tissues, but after their giant dies, they become structurally weak and would quickly fall off. But even if they didn't, they would be quickly chewed by rodents and broken apart by scavengers. The most unfair depiction in the animation here is about hyenas. They're depicted as greedy, stupid, lazy, and ineffective hunters compared to lions.
Look at you guys! No wonder we're dangling at the bottom of the food chain. Man, I hate dangling.
Let's make a quick comparison here. Hyenas rank in the top 15 in animal intelligence. Lions rank in the top 40. Hyenas in general sleep up to 14 hours every single day. Lions sleep up to 20 hours every single day. And because hyenas have a much better hunting success rate than lions, they're better nourished and have better chances to survive in the African savanna. Simba and Nala are unrealistically outrunning the hyenas for the whole time, but this wouldn't happen in real life. Lion cubs run up to 28 miles per hour. An adult hyena reaches up to 37 miles per hour. This hunt wouldn't last even for a few seconds before the two cubs are murdered. Mufasa easily handles 3 hyenas, but these animals can fight pretty damn hard. They're strong, massive, have a stronger bite than that of a lion. The lion would probably win, but not for sure, and definitely not that easy. After the fight ends, Mufasa orders Zazu to
take Nala home. I've got to teach my son a lesson.
She's your daughter too, why don't you have a talk with both of them? The gaslighting level in this scene is legendary. Scar bribes the hyenas with a piece of zebra. First, the fact that Scar made it in one piece is bullshit. The zebra is one of the most aggressive animals in the wild world. Why do you think that humans casually rode horses and camels throughout history but not zebras? First of all, the maniacally driven, bar-coated wild donkey always hangs around in large groups. Second, it has enough strength in its leg to send a lion's jaw into a different continent. A lone lion in fact has about 10% chances of succeeding the kill of a zebra. Plus, the hyenas wouldn't need a handout in the first place, cause again, they're much better hunters than lions. 3 hyenas caused the stampede of hundreds of wildebeests. This is really unlikely. Wildebeests are not this panicky. What would most likely happen is that the 3 hyenas would approach and be immediately murdered. Wildebeests are naturally running through a steep cliff, but that's not possible. Their body is not equipped to do this and would only roll over on each other. They're missing the sharp outer edges and soft center hooves of mountain goats that would allow them to operate somewhat in this manner. After Mufasa's death, Scar sends fully grown hyenas to hunt a lion cub, but their incompetent asses failed to make an easy kill yet again. When Scar comes back to the pride, he lies about Mufasa and Simba's death for no reason at all. It's completely normal in their world that a competitor murders the dominant lion, then all his cubs as a middle finger to the continuation of his bloodline. In fact, lionesses are pretty understanding of that dynamic. In real life, they'd probably say Mufasa, who the f is Simba? Loyalty is not really their greatest virtue. Arrives Timon and Pumba, the iconic duo, and then they save an active blood-craven predator from death while they should be cheerleading the vultures to finish him off. It is important to note that different animal species would naturally avoid coming in close contact with each other because doing so would facilitate the spread of diseases and infections. Leave it to Disney to make a jumble of disgusting crawling insects look absolutely delicious. There are obvious problems with this diet. For Timon, a meerkat feeding on insects like beetles, termites, and larvae is completely fine. It's full of protein, fat, and healthy micronutrients. Pumba, a warthog on the other hand, would have energy imbalance, lose a ton of weight, and be on vitamin deficiency. And Simba, for obvious reasons, would be on life support. A lion requires about 9 kilograms of meat every day to sustain itself. Feeding on insects would only cause taurine deficiency, which would lead to blindness, heart failure, or both. His immune system would file for bankruptcy and it would be left to rot in pieces. What would really happen is that he would eat Timon and Pumba as a reward for their failure to think logically. Nala, Simba's sister, sees Pumba and takes chase, which she should, she's an active predator. Then Simba attacks her and successfully fends her off, which he shouldn't be able to do. She's an active hunter dealing with wild beasts like zebras, wildebeests, buffaloes. He's an insect-eating, malnourished, mineral deficient, sorry excuse for a lion. And then they recognize each other.
Timon, this is Nala.
My sister. Nala explains to Simba that he must be king, which was a lie. Hereditary nepotistic power is the human way, not lions. And then siblings getting it on. Yuck. By the way, this is very rare, but still happens at times. Sibling inbreeding in the lion world is usually avoided because it introduces deficiencies in the immune system and lowers fertility. Timon and Pumba, saddened by the possibility of losing their friend, start crying, which they cannot do, biologically speaking. Both have tear glands whose sole purpose is to lubricate the eyes and protect against dust and debris. But tears cannot run profusely just like humans. Simba, finally convinced to claim his throne, crosses a desert with no food, no water, with extreme heat, and he needs 20 hours of sleep every day. An average desert is about 100 kilometers of length, so most likely Simba dies before he makes it to Pride Rock. And by the way, the natural ecosystem in this animation is nonsense. 1 second is in Southern America, then is in a desert, probably in North Africa, and then in the African savanna. And it doesn't even look like he broke a single sweat during the travel. What he finds back home is horrifying. The land is dry, no plant, no tree, nothing in sight. And all wild animals are gone because hyenas eat too much, which doesn't make sense. An average lion requires about 9 kilograms of food every day, while a hyena only requires 4. Plus, if all herbivores are gone, isn't vegetation supposed to be spreading quickly, not the opposite? This sounds a hell of a lot like false propaganda from lions to cast blames on their greatest rivals and keep power. Simba and Nala come across a few hyenas and don't hesitate to use Pumba and Timon as baits. And since this causes them to run away in an open space, they should be dead. Hyenas can run at a top speed of 37 miles per hour, and they can chase a prey on a distance of 10 kilometers. Simba just gave his closest friends away as a sacrificial offering. Simba finds Scar slapping and imposing his tyranny on many dozens of females in the clan, which is rubbish. 3 to 4 lionesses is enough to past tense the leader of the clan. It's been done many times in the African savanna. Simba, infuriated by his mother being treated this manner, threatens Scar, and for the life of me I can't comprehend how it gathered the level of confidence considering that he is a calorie deficient insect-eating lion. An epic fight breaks out in the pride between the lionesses and the hyenas, and normally this should end in the complete obliteration of the hyenas. It takes about 5 hyenas to defeat a healthy adult lioness, so unless they're considerably overcrowded, the lionesses easily win this one. Pumba, a warthog, wrecks multiple hyenas' shit, which is simply impossible. He should be immediately in a coffin. A mandrill takes down 5 hyenas, which is also impossible. Again, a hyena has a bite force much stronger than that of a fully grown lion. Furthermore, what business does a mandrill have helping out his active predator taking power in the African savanna in the first place? This fight ends with Simba defeating Scar despite his severe protein deficiency. The scene ends with the most realistic part of the animation, a bunch of hyenas ganging up on a lion and murdering him. Simba becomes king and the vegetation is immediately restored because the hyenas are no longer eating all the plants. And the food comes back together in a coordinated effort to celebrate the coronation of an apex predator. Simba and his sister get together, make a baby, which is normal in the animal world, but make that clear. The end.